when we were at MJ BizCon, speaking of Spectrum, you had a poster, or you had something that was discussing the idea of Spectrum and IPM and pest
the UVC
management.
lights.
Yes.
Can you
that
touch
one
on,
had us blown away.
I was like, can you talk a little bit about that in regards to how you can make that work?
Yes. So it's using UVC, and this was like we were on a really long mission to bring this. Like, we're still working on it and to get it approved in Canada. Actually, we're just partnered with a university back east that's helping us because it's just challenging with Health Canada. But in the USA, yes, we have it, and I actually think it's like under canopy lighting in a sense, where people don't believe in it. But it's really a big game changer, and it catches on, or it's catching on, and it's becoming more and more popular. I see it as basically one of the biggest advantages ever. I don't ever the only thing that I really kind of like to advertise that it can, in most cases, eradicate is thrips. But it's such an advantage on whatever shows up. You're going to have, it's going to slow down the spread of anything, and also make it, like, after they've been exposed to it for like a week, make it like 10 times easier. We've done trials where, we're introducing hundreds of mites and we can't beat them, but after exposing them for a week to the light and then spraying one spray with Los Kills plant therapy, we could wipe them out. And that's not normal, like being able to really wipe something out after 1 week. And the same with like thrips. When we first, it was an accident how we, there's a lot of bad data and bad research saying that you can't use it. And I was kind of following those guidelines. And it was only by an accident with a timer failing that we really discovered a couple different things. And, I had decided to, experiment saying, hey, let's try to stress the plant out with UVC. We know UVB is much stronger than UVA and stresses it out. And we know UVC causes cancer. And, it can break down plastic. It can break down anything if you put it close enough and long enough. And that's where, 6 days later, all of a sudden, there were no thrips in the rim. And it was just, that's where we're like, oh my goodness, we're really onto something. There's so many species of thrips, but like for the Western flower thrip, that's one of the most common ones. It seems extremely effective. Like, out of thousands of people now using it, there's maybe 3 or 4 reports where someone was saying, hey, this isn't working, or complaining about it, or maybe even half a dozen. In a lot of cases, they weren't having full protection. So like, if you have them on 2 tents and then you don't have them on the other 2 tents that are next to it, well, they're just going to go and come back. So it's really a matter to get the true efficacy, you want everywhere covered. There is also, like, people have to be careful with it too. Like, as we're evolving, we can see certain cultivars can take more UVC than others. And they're definitely, the smaller the plant is, the more you have to be cautious with it, because like a plant with minimal roots can get totally burnt by it. Like, I've seen a couple people that weren't paying attention to anything and just put little plants in and put 15 minutes at night, and they really stressed their plants out. And the plants can grow out of it in about a week if they even have damage like that. But I really think that, I think it's going to evolve. Like, I'm sure people are going to use, like, it already has passed the point of stuff that we've done. People have taken our lights and tried different treatments. And like, I've had people report that they've beaten spider mites, like, where in cases where I can't, but they were using it, 3 times longer than I was. And they were, so, and some plants can take it. A lot of times even you can get a little bit of burning underneath, but the trade-off of having a little burning on a few buds to actually have that protection, it's a no-brainer.
Can you touch on, like, what exactly is it about the Spectrum UVC that does it? Is it like, is it deteriorating the cells if it's cancer causing?
Yeah, well, like UVC itself, it's very harmful. Like, you don't actually have it in sunlight. So first of all, you don't, like, I think people are some people get confused about it. It's not in sunlight, and it's dangerous. It's used in so many different things for disinfecting things. Like, they'll put them in ventilation, and you have all different types of UVC light. So it's just really the wavelength that is harmful. Now, like, I remember having a timer fail and being right next to the light and realizing it's on and going, oh shit. Like, I've had different things like that happen. And we've made it so that you can't, if you have a timer failure, that it can't stay on. So basically, if it's running for 15 minutes, we did something with the MCU and the driver so that, it will shut off after 15 minutes. I don't think that even just walking by it once is even really harmful, but like getting within 6 inches and long-term exposure is bad. And obviously you don't want your eyes looking at it, even though it's such low wattage. Like I don't like, I would think it would take a lot of exposure long-term. Now, obviously if you had this is very low wattage UVC. Now, if you had something that was way more powerful, it's extremely dangerous and you could burn your eye out. Like say if you had like 100 watts of UVC in one lamp or something like that, it's very dangerous. And I like to say, it's dangerous. Sticking your hand in a blender can be dangerous too. Well, it's turned on. So like you have to follow certain, you have to obviously be careful and follow all the guidelines. But I really think that, like I said, I think it's like under canopy. It's, I criticized under canopy for a long time and so many others did, thinking, hey man, it's not working or whatever. And then you just see some of the results. Like I just saw someone come down and you can see the bottom flowers as big as the top, like literally as hard and as big as the top. So it's like, it's kind of undeniable. There may be some applications where I think under canopy wouldn't be that beneficial. If you only had like 2.5 foot tall plants, then maybe you'd be wasting it. But I think in almost any other circumstance, like also with under canopy, I just find that it keeps what we've noticed, it keeps the plant so much happier. Like normally, because it's keeping it warmer. And when you take down a plant, normally underneath when there's no light, it's all dead and discolored and not looking good. Well, this is keeping it happy the whole time. So
yeah. Well, this is where we kind of first crossed paths on the old Instagram, is me kind of doubting it for a home grower. But now that you break it down in that sense, the size of the plant does make the difference. So if you do have or if you're doing, let's say, a scrog setup. So if you want that all even everything, you either strip it down butt naked underneath your plant, or you implement the under canopy lighting. Now, the argument of the 30% difference, have you seen this at home? Like people say that, I've seen that number thrown around more, 30% increase. Have you seen that same thing in a home grow setting, like in a grow tent? Or is it primarily in commercial grows?
I can't say that I've seen someone do a side-by-side in a grow tent and had that type of gain, but I think it's very, I'd like to say I've seen anywhere from, 10% to 40% gain depending on it. But that's in situations with supplemental CO2. But I still think that there's still going to be a huge gain. I'd love for you guys to try a side-by-side and just see.
Dude, I've got two 4x2 or 2x4, however you want to say it, tents, and it could be something to try. I don't know size wise again, because that's what I'm thinking is like, is this something that would fit within this small little space versus a 4x4 tent?
Yeah, I think you'd be able to make it work. Like, here's another thing is I actually truly believe that I'm about to, I've been really busy this last 8 months, so I haven't had my medical grow up, but I'm just renovating and I'm about to, hopefully to have it up and running in a couple weeks. And my plan is to have like 2 under canopies underneath versus 2 under canopies plus 2 lower side, but dimming the wattage. Because I really think that, I know of a company that legitimately does 10 pounds of light, but they grow them up and they have big light. They have 3 lights around the plant and 1 above it. So, they're using 2,400 watts under the 4x4 space, but they legitimately are hitting 10 pounds. So, because they're growing up. So it's about, a lot of times electricity isn't that, like in some cases, electricity is really important, but some places electricity is cheap and it's not really that relevant. So in those type of situations, I think that, it's just about maximizing your space and what you can really do. And also the amount of labor and how many times you have to clean out the bottoms and to be able to eliminate that. I think you still have to, unless you have trellis going on, maybe you take off some branches coming off the branches, but to eliminate having to clean all that stuff out and really turning B's into A's, I have seen it with other commercial grows and it's life-changing for them. Canada is a really hard place to thrive in the legal market. You're either killing it with a brand and doing really well, or you're fighting for your life in most cases. So to come in and in a lot of cases too, when people come from HBS and then they implement LEDs, well, their AC is oversized now, but if you add under canopy at the same time, you have the same amount of BTUs coming out, but you have so much more light. And so it really, I've seen it save certain companies and really be a game changer. Because 30%, I'm seeing people truly breach 5 pounds of light. I know it sounds hard to believe, but of real product. And, I've even had other clients of mine not believe it. And I've arranged for my other clients to come over to other clients while they're harvesting and while they're just trimming a plant or 9 plants and then weighing it out in front of them so they can see it. Because like I've seen people that are doing such crazy yields, it's mind blowing. And like even me, they're just blowing away anything I've ever done. Like when I was growing a single-ended HPS, I was at the top of the chain going between 2 pounds and 2.5 pounds per light. Like the best I ever did was 2.75 on one crop on single-ended HPS. And that, I never got into double-ended HPS that are putting out 20% more light per watt. But, in theory, if you're going from single-ended to double-ended, you should be increasing your yield by 20% or roughly. And I started seeing people clear 3 pounds of light, and I was just, I tried so hard and I thought it was, almost impossible. And then it's just like what I've seen people, what they're doing. Like I think I've fallen way behind on certain things like irrigation, like, and crop steering irrigation. Like I've been working with GrowLink and I'm trying to get up to date and learn it, but I've definitely fallen behind compared to the times. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy what can happen in 5 years or 6 years. It's I definitely, though, I think I've fallen behind in a lot of different stuff, but I'm going to try to, like, I actually, with the Borgs, I did have a crop where I broke over 3 pounds of light, and I was running them. I don't think I even got over 660 watts and on each light. So I was like, obviously I was mind blowing for me thinking about if I would have hit those yields back then. And that was without under canopy also. But then,
jeez, holy shit.
But you got to also think about how much light you're getting and the uniformity. It does really play a role.
This FTS clip was brought to you by AC Infinity, leaders in garden innovation. Use discount code TheStash15 at checkout to save some money on your order.
From the Stash Podcast.